Hi, my name is Sebastian and this video is about how to create URIs when using JAX-RS. If you use JAX-RS specifically with hypermedia, so you want to create a hypermedia RESTful API, then you have to create a lot of URIs pointing to your resources, and I want to show you how JAX-RS helps you to create them in the most easy way. So if you have a Java E7 project like this one, this is the POM file of the JE7 project containing only the Java E7 API, and you have a JAX-RS configuration class to bootstraps the JAX-RS implementation. And now let's create another resources. So for example, we want to have coffee exposed via REST and linking to other coffee resources. So let's create a coffees resource which uses a managed bean internally. But first, this is the path coming from JAX-RS to tell the resource that it will be available under the path coffees. And now let's do a method which returns an array of coffees, exactly a JSON array, as we use JSON here. The reason that I use JSON array is this is JSON-P coming with Java E7 and is a nice functionality to create JSON objects in a programmatic way. And we will use a managed bean here, which we call coffee shop, which gives us a list of coffees. Now this is a very simple example providing a list of strings which will be the coffee names. So this list can be accessed in our JAX-RS resource method. And now I'm using Java E7 together with Java 8, so I can use fancy lambdas and streams. So now we create a stream of these strings and we map this stream to a stream of JSON objects here using that logic. And with JSON.createObjectBuilder, you can create an object builder to create these JSON objects programmatically. For example, with name, and now the interesting part, a link. This will be a self link to the self URI here. And JSON-P doesn't support URIs natively, so you have to call .toString here. And now this will be created into a JSON object, and at the end we want to have a JSON array. Therefore we have to collect it with a JSON array builder. So these method handles create a JSON array builder with the logic here, and by calling .build we create a JSON array out of it, which will be returned from a JAX-RS resource. So now the interesting point, how to create this URI. We already have our information which contains the information how the URLs look like in our JAX-RS project, like this add path, for example. So we don't want to repeat ourselves all over again and want to access that information which is already there. Therefore, JAX-RS provides a nice functionality calling URI info, which can be injected via add context because it's a JAX-RS context managed object. And this URI info gives us some helpful functionality how to create these URIs. For example, when we call .getBaseURIBuilder, we get an URI builder which already contains the base URI of your application. This means you have the base URI which can now be concatenated with the paths here. And we could either do this like providing the paths directly, but as the paths are already there in your application, we can actually access them via this functionality. So now giving the class here makes JAX-RS look up this path annotation and take the value here to concatenate these paths and build a URI out of it. By calling .build, this will build a URI to coffees, which will be an absolute URI, as the base URI builder already contains the base URI of your application. And as we want to link to a specific coffee, so a specific coffee sub-resource here, we will create a second JAX-RS resource method with the subpath of a specific name. So this is a parameter here, and this will be a single JSON object, get coffee, for a path parameter for the name here. And the name of the path parameter will inject it into that resource. And this can also be referenced here now, as we can not only reference a class, but also a method by providing the method name. So this will look up now the add path annotation here, take the name and concatenate it as well. And now the URI will look like coffees/name as a parameter, but of course we want to substitute that parameter with the actual name of that coffee. So fortunately that build method takes argument to substitute these parameters here. So we can call any, we can take any string or actually any object to substitute these parameters. If you have several parameters, then they will be substituted in the order you provide them. And now this will be created into a URI pointing to that specific coffee for each coffee name here, which will be added into a JSON object. Now let's do the same thing down there. We want to create a JSON object for a specific coffee, and as the logic is already here, we can actually refactor that into a private method. Actually, we don't want to have a function down here, rather than we want to reference this via method handle and call it also in the second JAX-RS method, and therefore we have to refactor something. Now this is the same logic. We provide a name, this will be created into a URI, and at the end we create a JSON object. And here we can now take the same here, this will be totally uppercase of the name, but it doesn't matter. And we can call the same method here with the same logic. So that's pretty much it. The interesting part is how to create these URIs with the information which is already there in JAX-RS. And now if we would change these paths here, we don't have to change anything else on that side. So let's run the example. As this is Java 7 project built with Maven, we will use Maven clean install to build it, and we will deploy it on any Java 7 application server of your choice. I will use Wi-Fi here. And as it exposes REST over HTTP, we can actually use any REST client we would like to access this, for example, curl. And now let's ready print this. We have a JSON array exposed here, which is contains the coffee names and the created URIs to each coffee. And now we can also access a single coffee, for example this one, which contains one single JSON object with the logic exposed here by the second JAX-RS resource method. So I hope you enjoyed the video and learned about JAX-RS and how to create URIs programmatically. I'm offering workshops in Munich and Oslo at the end of this year, also for JAX-RS and Hypermedia. So actually how to create Hypermedia RESTful web services with JAX-RS together with other Java EE workshops. So check out my website if you like. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching and bye.